Hello fellow gamers, and welcome to the Round Table, a place where we discuss our most anticipated titles of the week on the gaming frontier. My name's Jace.
And I'm Chris.
And this week, we felt that the format from last week's Round Table broke down our content into more digestible segments. As a result of that, we've decided to split our games for discussion into separate videos from now on, for an easier viewing experience for you, the audience. If you're looking for our Lastfight video, the link to that will be in the description. Part 1 for this week, however, will cover one of our earlier releases, Homefront, The Revolution.
After surviving the closure of THQ and being picked up by Deep Silver, Homefront The Revolution is looking to build upon the aftermath of the first game and is set 4 years into the brutal military occupation of America by the KPA. Set in the city of Philadelphia, you play as Ethan Brady, who is part of an underground resistance movement that is looking to take the city back by force, using whatever guerrilla tactics are available to them. However, with surveillance drones and armed patrols watching your every move, this hard-fought freedom will no doubt come at a price.
It started back with the Apex Corporation in the 70s, and the birth of Silicon River in North Korea. Even back then, their tech was way ahead of what was coming out of America.
One of the defining moments for me playing the original Homefront was how the alternate timeline story was written. I think a lot of people really enjoyed that aspect of it. I mean, they even had a book planned for it. So back in 2011, when the original came out, some of what it covered in regards to Korea weren't really that far-fetched, to be honest, but for me, I kind of like how they took that and just ran with it. So as a result of that, Homefront The Revolution picks this up 4 years later, and for me, one of the things I'm kind of worried about is that with it being under a new studio and plagued with some issues in its early development, I'm kind of hoping they can keep the same vibe to the story and can develop it in a way that kind of makes sense from the back of the whole series.
Yeah, I mean, I've not really played the Homefront games myself, to be honest, so looking at what research we've put into this game, seeing how Korea have taken over the US now, they sort of remind me of, I suppose, Helghast from the Killzone series, how they're sort of almost dictating how people live their lives, etc., and all that sort of stuff. But I honestly can't see the Americans themselves just bend over backwards and get taken over by a place like Korea. Not that I'm saying, they don't have the capabilities to do it, but it just seems really out there, I guess. Yeah,
that's it. I think that's kind of the point. I mean, the Koreans aren't big scary dudes in masks with glowing red eyes from another planet, so, not quite as bad as the Helghast, but yeah, I think that's kind of the point of the whole series, really, is that it really focuses on, well, as it's aptly titled, the revolution aspect of it, where, there's these underground guerrilla fighters, and they're not happy with the Koreans taking over good old America, the land of freedom, so, it's up to them to band together and take it back, and, you play as this guy called Ethan Brady, who kind of wants to be leading this revolution, getting the freedom back into the hands of the American people.
You might have the stomach for a fight, rookie, but I'm here to teach you about the skills and the tools that the Resistance uses to even the odds against the KPA. You're a rookie now.
If it turns out you show some aptitude, then we can talk about upgrading.
Because the biggest difference between this and the original Homefront for me has to be the fact that it's now actually an open world game. So the original one was more of a mission-to-mission thing, kind of like Call of Duty if you've ever played one of those. There was room for exploration, but as with a lot of first-person shooters nowadays, it was never going to be a true open world experience. And I think especially with the theme being that America's now under Korean occupation and there's all this going on, I think an open world game was really the perfect answer. It was always something I felt was missing from the first one, just the ability to go outside the bounds of the level and just really see what the occupation was like.
Yeah, and you don't really see sort of an open world setting for military shooters, well, in this genre in general, to be honest. I think Homefront is going to bring that forward with, as you said, the occupation of Korea over America. And it's going to be good to see the contrast as you're exploring between the technology that Korea brings with their, I suppose, invasion and the slums-esque feel of the America that just is completely neglected by the Koreans anyway. So it'll be good to see how the scavenging works in this type of setting.
Yeah, that's exactly it. From like the gameplay trailers and stuff I've seen, it really does look like the technological difference is just massive. So the Koreans have all these drones and armored patrols, and you're just here scrapping around, making your own little explosive devices and stun grenades and stuff out of whatever you can find around the city. So.
Like a banana peel and maybe a tin can of beans or something. I don't know, maybe.
I don't think in a realistic setting, banana peels work the way you want them to work, unfortunately. Just like slipping up a troop of Koreans, yeah, that'd be good, yeah, it'd be a bit funny. Take a bit of the edge off it, wouldn't it? But, you know, in all seriousness, like you say, it's going to be good to see how, you know, you use this limited technology available to you to, like, you know, fight this revolution.
Free prisoners of the state or suppress civilians, and destroy or capture their infrastructure.
Our country has been taken from us. Only together can we take it back.
So we've been through the open world single player of Homefront: The Revolution, and now it's time for me to entice you a little bit with the multiplayer. So the original Homefront had some pretty good PvP multiplayer with loadouts and, you know, a couple of unique objectives, but unfortunately for Homefront: The Revolution, the big change is that they decided they're out with the PvP and they're in with the co-op, and this is coming under the guise of a mode called Resistance Mode. And this pretty much means that you can team up with your friends, I think it's up to 4 people, and you can form your own resistance cell and really stick it to the KPA.
Yeah, and this is really another change that differs from your general military shooter, to be honest. You know, getting rid of a PvP, which is a standard for any sort of military shooter that's released nowadays, and putting in a co-op, which I'm not against. The co-op is always going to be quite fun with friends, but to get rid of a PvP is kind of questionable, really.
It's definitely a bold move, I'll give it that.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine a Call of Duty game launching without PvP multiplayer?
Yeah, I don't really know how that would work. Like,
well,
whole communities would probably riot.
Yeah, that's it. Like, the whole game would just collapse on itself. But I think for Homefront, they've kind of got this kind of a unique setting, really. You know, where the KPA are in. You know, they've taken over America essentially. So it is all about bringing back this resistance, this revolution, you know, working with people, hearts and minds, that kind of thing, and really, you know, being able to take back America from these people. So I think it kind of suits, say, like a co-op environment as opposed to a PvP environment. Fortunately, that's all the time we have for Homefront, and hopefully this has gotten you all riled up to take up arms and fight off the KPA, either on your own or with your buddies. So if you're ready to get engrossed in a little bit of guerrilla warfare, Homefront: The Revolution is out now on PC, PS4 and Xbox One.
It's gonna burn.
And that caps off part 1 of this week's episode of The Roundtable. If you want to catch part 2, where we'll talk about Lastfight, you can click below for that. If you fancy checking out last week's Roundtable, where we talked about Doom and Uncharted 4, or even our summary of releases for this week, you'll also find those links to the bottom. If you've got anything to say to us, you can find our Facebook at /TGFrontier, or if you want to condense it into 140 characters, be sure to give us a tweet at TGFrontier. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.